Hello students, in this video today I am going to discuss about our environment. Our environment is our surroundings, where we live and where we function. So our surroundings or conditions is our environment. So if I want to define the environment, the definition of environment will be something like surroundings. You can write it down, surroundings or conditions. Surrounding or conditions under which person, plant and persons, plants and other animals live and operate. So, what is environment? Environment is our surroundings around us. So, our surroundings, all the conditions where all the human beings, all the animals, all the living organism, plants, even microorganism, they live and they function. They grow, they reproduce. So that is their environment. This is the definition of environment. And definition is like surroundings or conditions under which persons, plants or other animals live and operate. So this is environment. Nowadays, environment is a most common word. We heard or we read in television, newspapers, magazines. Nowadays, it is a very common and also very important word. Even many global summits are held to discuss about different aspects of environment, because it is very important for the sustenance of living organism. So today in this video I will discuss environment under three heads. The first is addition of waste to the environment. This is a very important factor, the addition of waste to the environment. The second is ecosystem, and third is grouping of living organisms. So I will discuss all the 3 points one by one, how these three, addition of waste to the environment, then ecosystem and grouping of living organism, they have an impact, positive or negative impact on our environment. So first I am discussing the addition of waste to our environment. You know, all of us in our day-to-day life, we produce a lot of waste products or the garbage, and we add this garbage to our environment. This waste of garbage can be divided into two types. One is biodegradable, and the other is non-biodegradable. So two types of waste, it is produced in our daily life. So what is the difference between biodegradable and non-biodegradable? As the word suggests, biodegradable. Bio means life. Degradable, to finish, to digest. So biodegradable means the waste products which are being degraded, which are being finished, which are being decomposed by bio or by life. What are these life forms which degrade the waste in the environment? They are mostly microbes and fungi. So microorganisms like bacteria. Bacteria and the other living organisms, they are fungi. These fungi, they are also known as decomposers. They are saprophytes. So these bacteria and fungi, they are biological forms which degrade these waste products in the environment. And these waste products, they are, for example, they are from the have living origin. Living means they are organic in nature. Organic in nature means they are from life. They are from living organisms like cloth. How can the cloth be living? Because it is formed from the fibers of cotton plant. All of you know the cotton fiber is from the fibers of the flowers or the seeds of cotton plants, gossypium. So it is of living origin, that is, it is organic. Or silk, from silkworm the silk cloth is formed. Then leather is also of living origin, because skin of some animals, they are used for making leathers. Then we eat fruits, vegetables, even non-vegetarian food. These all are of living origin. So all these living things which are known as organic products, they are being decomposed or degraded by these bacteria and fungi. So the material or the waste which is being degraded by bacteria and fungi, that is known as biodegradable waste. And within a matter of time, all these things, they are finished from the environment and they do not have any negative impact on the environment. That is, they do not harm environment. How? Because these bacteria and fungi, they produce certain specific enzymes, and these enzymes, they break down this organic matter which is complex in nature into simple inorganic matter. And this inorganic matter, it goes to the soil, and soil become rich with nutrients, and this soil, these nutrients from the soil, they are again taken up by the plants and they again come into the system. So biodegradable waste, it is giving energy to the system. When it is changed from organic to inorganic, from complex to simple, it gives energy to the system, and within a very less time it is decomposed by bacteria and fungi. So this is about the biodegradable. Now non-biodegradable. As the name suggests, this non-biodegradable waste, it is not decomposed or degraded by bacteria or fungi. If we see the examples, many examples are there, and they are mainly man-made. They are plastics, different type of plastics, different types of polythenes, which are known as PVC. Nowadays, the government has banned all type of polythene bags and other polythenes so that the environment may not be polluted. These non-biodegradable substances, they have a negative impact on environment. The environment become polluted. So they are plastics, polythenes, glass, which are not worked upon by bacteria and fungi, and many more. So how these are there in the environment? They live for a very long time in the environment. They do not perish. They do not degrade. They do not finish. So what happens to these non-biodegradable substances? They are to some extent are being worked upon by heat, environmental heat or environmental pressure, and in very long time they become mixed with the soil and they are and in fact they are not perished fully in the environment, and if we burn these things they give a very dangerous smoke or very which is not healthy for breathing, and so these should not be even burned, and they are there in the environment for a very long time and they are not degraded by these bacteria and fungi. This is about the first point, where addition of waste to the environment. Now coming to the second point. What is the second point? Second point was ecosystem. What is this ecosystem? These ecosystems, they are studied under a special branch of biology that is known as ecology. Ecology is a study of interaction of living organisms and non-living things. So this is ecology, and the second point now is ecosystem. If I want to define ecosystem, it is biological community. It is a biological community which is interacting with its surroundings, or we can say physical surroundings, which is interacting with its physical surroundings for its sustenance. Do you know what is sustenance? Sustenance is, in Hindi we can say jivika, for their sustenance, for their growth, for their reproduction, for their nutrition. So this is sustenance. So what is ecosystem? In ecosystem, it is a biological community. That is, biological community means a community made up by living organism. These living organisms may be animals, may be plants, may be microorganisms, and even human beings. Human beings are also animals. So plants, animals and microorganisms, they form this biological community. These living organisms, they interact with their surroundings for their sustenance, for their livelihood. Sustenance is also known as livelihood. So for their livelihood or for their sustenance, these biological and non-biological substances, they interact with each other, and it is known as ecosystem. I have written a definition of ecosystem. You can copy it down. The same thing is here. All the interacting organism. So organisms should interact with each other as well as with non-biotic substances also in an area. It is very important. The ecosystem is of an area, of a particular area. We can say this is the ecosystem of garden, this is the ecosystem of pond, this is the ecosystem of a forest. So an area has to be chosen for whose ecosystem we are talking about. So all the interacting organism in an area together with the non-living constituents of environment form an ecosystem. What does it mean? It means that ecosystem, it is having two type of constituents. Two constituents in an ecosystem are there, and these, the first is biotic constituent, the first is biotic constituent, and the second is abiotic, or we can say non-biotic, abiotic constituent. So two type of constituents are there in an ecosystem. As the name indicate, biotic means having life and abiotic means they do not have life. So under biotic, we all know, again I am saying the same line, human beings, animals include human being though, animals, plants, microorganisms, all the living things, they are under biotic constituents. And the non-biotic may be wind or air, then temperature, then waterfall or water, then soil, then minerals in the soil. These all form non-biotic constituents of the ecosystem. So these biotic and non-biotic, they interact with each other. Biotic depends on non-biotic for its nutrition. A plant depends on the soil for its nutrition. It absorbs water and mineral from the soil, and all the living organisms, they are dependent upon non-biotic or abiotic constituents for their sustenance, for their growth, for their reproduction. Temperature is needed, which is according to the nature of the living organism. So water should be there, then wind and air should be there for breathing. So these biotic constituents, they are dependent upon non-biotic, and both interact with each other in an ecosystem, and it is known as an ecosystem of a particular area. So now we know that ecosystem, it has two components, one is biotic and other is non-biotic or abiotic. Now these ecosystems, they are of two types. One are natural ecosystems and other are man-made ecosystems. Man-made ecosystems and natural ecosystems. Natural are like forest. Nobody made the forest, it is natural. Then even ponds, then even lakes, then even sea, ocean, or even rivers. So these are some natural ecosystems, and man-made ecosystems are aquarium. We can make aquarium, then we can make gardens, then we can make crop fields or other fields for other plants. So these are some of the examples of man-made: aquarium, garden, crop fields. And in both types, biotic and abiotic components, they interact with each other. Suppose I have taken the example of forest. In forest, mostly plants are there. Big plants, shrubs, trees, herbs, all are there in the forest. And in the soil, even fungi may be there, even algae may be there, microorganisms may be there, small insects may be there. So these are living, and non-living and even animals, wild animals, some domestic animals may be there. So in forest, these natural forest, these living organisms are there. And abiotic, even rainfall is there, certain temperature is there, soil, mineral, everything is there. So in forest, these living and non-living, they interact with each other and a natural ecosystem is made. Likewise, in ponds or lake, small insects, algae are there, frogs, they eat this algae, and suppose some bigger reptiles or crocodiles or fish are there, then they eat these frogs, these fish, they are eaten by man. And so a complete sustenance in pond or lake or river or ocean, there is a complete sustenance of living organism there when they are interacting with non-biotic or abiotic components. So this is about natural. Then man-made, we can make aquarium in our houses in a glass box. We can put some fish, we can put some plants, aquatic plants, then some stones, some food for the fish, then an aerator for circulating the water so that the oxygen can be there for these water animals. So we can make aquarium or gardens, all of you know, and then crop fields. We sow different cereals, different pulses, and many more cash crops in crop fields, and these are man-made ecosystems. And in these ecosystems also, they are here in crop fields, soil and minerals are most important, even water is important, then temperature is important. So all these abiotic and biotic components, they interact with each other to form an ecosystem. So this is about the ecosystem. Now coming to the third point. What is the third point? Third point is, what is that? Division, or what is that? Of living organism. How these living organisms, they are grouped. Grouping. The third point is grouping of living organisms. The grouping of living organisms, it is also can be studied in three heads. First is producers. Second is consumers. First is producers, second is consumers, and third is decomposers. So, grouping of living organisms can be done in three heads: producer, consumers, and decomposers. So, at the bottom of the list is producer. All of you know what are producer? Plants are producers. So, what are they producing? They are producing food for consumers and decomposers. So, plants and one more, blue-green algae. Blue-green algae. They produce food. All of you know plants, they are known as autotrophs, and they produce food with the help of solar energy. All of you know the definition: CO2 plus 12H2O, 6 CO2 plus 12H2O is equal to C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. This is the definition of photosynthesis, all of you know, and this happens in sunlight, and chlorophyll is must, or the green pigment is must. These blue-green algae, they don't have chlorophyll, they have cyanophysin, the other pigment, and some chlorophyll also, and they can also make food. So plants, they are autotrophs, they can make food, and this inorganic carbon dioxide and water, they form this starch in the plant, and this starch or sugar, it is being used in the next heading. Consumers used the food which is being produced by the plants. So the first head is producers, which are living organisms, and we cannot imagine life on earth without these plants, because plants are the only thing which can produce organic substances with inorganic substances. Without plants, life cannot be imagined on earth. So these are producers. Now the second are consumers. Consumers can be of three types or four types, you can say. These consumers, first is herbivores, second is carnivores, third is omnivores, and fourth is even you can say parasites. These are also consumers. So quite simple, all of you know, the name indicate consumers which consume the food directly or indirectly, which is made by producers. So in herbivores we have goat, then cattle, animals which use plant product for their sustenance, or even man which are vegetarian, they use only herbs or food in the form of vegetables, in the form of fruits, in the form of cereals, pulses, all are these plant products. And those who use these plant products, they are known as herbivores, which use herbs. Then carnivores. Carnivores are which are non-vegetarian, which use flesh or meat for their survival, like lions, then many other, all of you know, or some human beings also, they eat these meat, and many other animals which use flesh or meat for their survival, they are carnivores. And then omni means they use both herbs also, plant product also, and animal product also. And in these we can have dogs can eat what type of food, and human beings, they can eat what type of food. So they are omnivores. And some parasites also depend upon these producers, directly or indirectly. Now these parasites may be plant parasites or they may be animal parasites. Animal parasite, all of you know, lice, Jew, which is in our hair or head. And we also have internal parasites in our body. You have read it in 9th class, like worms, roundworms, they are in our intestines. And then microparasites, what are they? Malarial parasite, leishmania, then trypanosoma, then filaria worms. These all are internal parasites which live inside the body of the animal. And then plant parasites are certain fungus like rust, smut, or one of the important plant parasite is known as kaskuta. Kaskuta is a plant parasite. In Hindi it is known as amarbel, and it is present on the body of the plant, on trees, and it sucks ready-made food from the plant. So this is the grouping of living organism under the head producer, consumer, and what is the third one? Decomposers. So that is also important. The third is decomposers. Decomposer means which decompose the organic food into inorganic. The third are decomposers. Under decomposers, two, bacteria and fungi. They are taken. Fungi is also known as, also under saprophyte. Saprophyte means which live on dead and decayed food. They have their nutrition from dead and decayed food, like the rotten logs. You must have seen mushrooms. They are growing in the rainy season on the decayed wood or some decayed excreta of animal, dung, and many other some rotten things. If they grow there, so they are known as saprophytes. These bacteria and fungi, they are known as decomposers. What they are decomposing? They are decomposing the organic matter, complex, which is complex in nature, complex organic matter into simple inorganic matter. Inorganic means nitrogen, oxygen, carbon. So the complex organic matter is decomposed in the form of simple inorganic matter with the help of certain specific enzymes. These enzymes are being secreted by these bacteria and fungi. And I have just told you that this simple inorganic matter, it mixes with the soil, and the nutrients, they are again being absorbed by the plants for their growth. So these bacteria and fungi or decomposers are most important for our survival or for the balance in the environment, balance in the ecosystem. Suppose there were no bacteria and fungi. So if an animal dies, he will be there for months, for years, because if no bacteria and no fungi decompose the body of the animal, it cannot be decomposed only by heat or pressure of the environment, only by the physical conditions. There should be bacteria and fungi which should decompose the organic matter. So these decomposers are most important for the environment. So there should be a balance in the environment between different components. So this is all for today. In the next video, we will look in some other aspects of environment. Thank you.